All right, today we're going to be using an equation formula that I made to predict how Japanese high-class sets will do in the future. So quickly, we're going to go over the formula I made, how I made it, and then we're going to look at the high-class sets and kind of evaluate whether I think this is accurate or inaccurate. So first, we'll jump into the spreadsheet I have here. I color-coded it this time to make it look nice. So I used the most recent 5 Japanese high-class sets to make this graph. I didn't feel like going way in the past for this, so I kind of wanted to stop right around like 5 years ago. And fortunately, each of these sets is released once a year in like December, November, so it kind of makes it easy. They're released at the same time. There's no variability in that when it comes to like the time of year. So I used GX Ultra Shiny, which is Hidden Fates, then Shiny Star V, VMAX Climax, Vstar Universe, and Shiny Treasure EX. So I have their current box prices here. This is price charting data. Ooh, voice crack there. Ew. Anyways, price charting data. Then I took their top 8 hits because I wanted to give them a little bit of examination of their depth as well as just their top chase cards. And I didn't use PSA graded cards because generally the box price of Japanese sets seems to be more weighted on the raw card price because the raw cards are worth pretty close to the PSA graded price because the Japanese card quality is just that much better than the US. So it's more based on the raw cards. Yeah, so I have that all out here, and then I made the sum of them in this column here, and then I put in how old the set is. And it's fortunate they're released once a year at the same time, so we can kind of guesstimate, or we can just 4.5, 3.5, 2.5, 1.5, and half years for Shiny Treasure there. So then I multiplied the sum of the raw hits by their age, and we got these results here. So this is a nice way to kind of take into account the age of the booster box and the price of the hits and not have to factor it in later into the equation, if that makes sense. It makes it much more simple and easy to kind of evaluate. So, well, with that, I made this graph here with the sometimes age and the current box price. I made a graph. So this is what this graph looked like. With here you got Shiny Treasure EX, Vstar Universe, and then VMAX Climax and Shiny Star V. I forget which is which, but those 4 there. And then GX Ultra Shiny way up here with the box price at $633. But what you can see here is that the graph is pretty strong. The correlation is really strong at 0.987, so it's a positive, strong correlation. And then we got the jumbled mess of the equation, which is just, I don't know, it's the way they format it on Google Sheets. Not my favorite, but it works. So what you can see here is it is kind of predicting a slow, steady growth. And then once you get to the more expensive chase cards, or it's been out for a long time, it starts to have a more exponential growth. And then with that, I kind of multiplied out, or I changed their year multiplier. Like instead of the sum of the raw hits being multiplied for 1.5 years for Vstar Universe, I multiplied it by 2.5 years. So that gave us that. Using that is how we're able to predict the future prices, if that makes any sense. So with that, I was able to make this little chart here. So what we have is, we'll go through them one at a time. Vstar Universe. So at 1.5 years, which is what it is currently, it's predicted to be $93, which is over what it is right now. These cards are kind of, these Japanese cards are kind of in like a depression, I guess you could say. Across the board, they've been decreasing, the sealed product and the singles pretty much. So this is kind of over predicted what it would be at right now. But then in a year from now, it's predicted to be at 106. So not much growth, honestly. And I think that 2.5 year and 3.5 year predictions are pretty fair. You think a year from now, this box will go up $20-30. I don't think it'll be anything crazy. I don't think it's going up $50-60 in the next year, but I think a $20, $30 growth is pretty realistic. And then 4.5 years, you can see it starts to pick up a little bit more, gaining an extra $17 on this 3.5 year. And then 5.5 years, 158. And this 5.5 years is after its release date of December in 2022. So it's not 5.5 years from today. So my overall examination is, I think right now, obviously it's over predicted its price. It's predicted to be 93, it's 70, like 77 or something like that. And then it gets into a range where I think it's fairly accurate. I think over the 2.5 to 4.5 year range, it's pretty solid. But I believe Vstar Universe is going to kind of pick up over this 5.5 year, 6.5 year range. I think as these boxes get older and older, they get more and more rare and they pick up more significantly. And I think this is kind of under predicting. My guess is at 6.5 years post release, it'll be more like $250 a box. Could be wrong, could be right. I don't know. We'll see. Here's Shiny Treasure EX. So something to note with this one, I also added a multiplier of 0.75. Now, why did I do that? Why would I lower the estimated price of this? It's because of this massive reprint coming in, I think it's actually coming in April. I think it's just, what's it called? Just 151 coming in May. But I think this set is having a reprint in April, and it's gonna be way more available at $35 a box. So I think this reprint's gonna kind of flood the market. It's gonna make it way cheaper. It's gonna make it cheaper for longer. So I added that multiplier. No exact science to why it's 0.75. I think there's probably a better way to do that, but that is what I have for now. Obviously, it can be optimized. If you have any ideas, please let me know. I'd love to make this better than it is, but I figured I'd put out something since some people were wanting me to do kind of a data analysis of Japanese sets. And I will make one eventually for the full Japanese set list. It's just there's so many and it's so hard to make a solid graph with all of that data. But eventually it'll happen. It's just not today. So 1.5 years, so a year from today, it's predicted to be at $71. I think that's high. I don't think it'll be quite there, just because it's going to be $35 in this next month here. I don't think it's going to double its price in a year. That's just me personally. I think this 2.5 years is also a little high. I think once we get to the 3.5, 4.5 year range, I think that's a pretty accurate guess. I think the supply will be kind of eaten through at this point. I think about $100, $110 at 3.5 to 4 years is a fairly strong guess. And even with the 5.5 year, I think that's a pretty good guesstimate as well. I don't think it's going to take off. Although I love this set, I think it has awesome chase cards, which we'll get into later when we kind of examine the sets. But yeah, I think it's going to be a little higher than it is in the 6.5 year prediction. I think it's going to be closer to 170, but we will have to see. And then we got VMAX Climax. These ones are already, or VMAX Climax is 2.5 years old, and Shiny Star V is 3.5 years old, so I don't have any predictions in here. But VMAX Climax is predicted to be at, they actually have the exact same sum of the raw hits for the top 8, which is kind of a crazy coincidence. So they're gonna have the same predictions based off this equation. And honestly, you can see that kind of in their box prices. They're pretty similar right now. Like, what's it, 124 and 135. The only difference is Shiny Star V is a year older. So, if anything, I think this equation kind of proves that it's kind of strong for these two sets. Like, it's correlated pretty well. So, these are predicted to be at, is this my slide? Oh, it is. Let me change that. All right, sorry. So, these are predicted to be at 123, then 137, and then 153. I think that's a fair guess. I don't think these are going to take off. They've been kind of dipping the past year because the Japanese card depression, if you want to call it that. So I think this overall graph is pretty strong. I think it's a little bit off on certain things, but it can give us a good idea. It can be a good tool to use if you want to kind of estimate our gains in the future. I wouldn't say it's a hard and fast rule or anything. I don't think it's remotely perfect, but it can give us a good idea. And if you guys would like me to send this out or download this as a PDF to give it to you guys, so you can look at it and examine it on your own, I'd be happy to do so. Just let me know. But now with that, we can go and examine the hits of, I'll do Vstar Universe and Shiny Treasure because those are the most recent ones, and we can kind of examine, do we think this equation's accurate? I got price charting pulled up here. We're gonna look at Vstar Universe first, and then we'll hop into Shiny Treasure EX. So as you can see, the top hit in the set for Vstar Universe is this Pikachu card. Recently, it's been kind of dropping in price, but it has bounced back in the past few days or a few months here. Or I guess it's just 1 month. It's gone up like $15 in the last month. I think this is a strong card. I think it's gonna hold its value in the future because it's a Pikachu. It's got cool artwork. He's like hanging from a leaf. I think it's a cool card, honestly. It's not as cool as, say, the Giratina Vstar here, but it's a cool card. And that's what I like about Vstar Universe. It has these unique cards in it. Like, I don't think there's ever been a card even close to how these gold cards look. You really get the idea that like Giratina is like from the abyss with this like oily, like distorted look. It's really cool. And this card has been dropping over the past year since its release, and it's kind of flattened out here these last few months, like dropping very slowly, if at all. If we look at the PSA10 graph though, it kind of dropped and bottomed out at like 110 here, but it's kind of made a little rebound. It's at 131 right now. Now, price charting data isn't always perfect, so take that with a grain of salt. But we look at the next highest hit at $50. We got Cynthia's Aspiration, which I think is another good card. I think this will hold its value pretty well long term. Cynthia's a super well loved character, and it has her Gastrodon in there. I think it would be stronger if it had like a Garchomp or one of her cooler Pokemon in the card, but it's still a cool card. It's got a nice art, and it's been holding fairly strong. It's dipped in the last little bit here, but it's a pretty good card. And with these cards, I think Vstar Universe has the potential to go way up in the future. People are going to want these in the future. These gold cards, the Giratina, this Arceus, they're super unique. That's why I have both of them. I picked them both up because I don't think there's ever going to be cards that look like these again. These are the coolest gold cards I have ever seen. And another thing to note is the Giratina and the Arceus, the Giratina and the Arceus, they have a different look in Japanese than they do in English, if that makes sense. They have like a slightly different texture to them almost. They like shimmer a little differently, and the Japanese ones look so much better. Like I have the slabs of them, and they look awesome. They're great display pieces. I think people are gonna want them in the future. Same thing. It's kind of bottomed out here, sitting at $41, which is a great price. If you want a unique card, pick it up for $40. But yeah, what I would take away from this is this set has crazy depth. Like at cards above $20, you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. 12 cards above $20. That's huge depth. And you have like a bunch right there at like 19, 19, 15. And it's such a good set. And this Leafeon Vstar is a $15 card and still looks amazing. I think it's going to hold its value very well. And I think the predictions that we have at like going up to $100, $120 the next year or two, I think that's going to happen. I think it's just waiting to go up, and it's not getting its reprint in this month like Shiny Treasure is and all the other 2023 Japanese sets. So I think it has room to grow. And if you are looking for a Japanese set to pick up, I think Vstar Universe is the one. And with that said, we'll hop into Shiny Treasure EX. Yeah, here it is. Okay. So, Shiny Treasure EX, a little bit different of a set. But one thing I will note is that these sets aren't driven by those like little girl cards. That's what I'm gonna call them. Like call them waifu. I don't want to say that. They're little girls. I don't like investing on that type of card. I don't like putting my money on those. I don't like betting on that. That's just not for me. Personally, I like the cool Pokemon. That's it. So, like, if it's a cool trainer, like it's Cynthia. Cynthia kicked my ass when I was like 10 years old. So, I'll buy her card, but that's gonna be it for me. So other people have different opinions on those, but that is mine. So with this set, I got the Charizard EX. Pretty sick card, honestly. One of the most unique Charizard cards we've gotten in a while. This and the 151, like they've been on fire with these amazing like secret art rares or illustration rares, whatever you want to call it. They are so sick. Like this Charizard looks insane. It looks like maniacal. And it's been holding strong. Like this is a set that like just got printed, and it isn't like dipping drastically. It just kind of stopped right at 125, and it's even going up to 130. Like that's pretty crazy for a set released recently. So I think in the long term, this Charizard EX is going to be a huge chase card. So just keep that in mind. And its PSA 10 value is $100 over its raw card value. So either that means poor printing quality or people just want that PSA 10 of it. The Iono, I don't really care for Iono. Same thing as I was saying earlier. But it's holding pretty strong. Like, people do want this card. And its PSA 10 is huge. 275 for that. That is crazy. Mew EX, awesome card. Super unique style, and it's a cute shiny Mew. I see this being another card that people want in the future. I see Shiny Treasure X being a great investment. I think right now, if you want to pick it up at that bottom price point, it's the time. I can get my boxes mid-30s, low 30s. And if you can do that as well, I think that's a great pickup. Hold it for 4 or 5 years. You'll have a nice investment there. The Gardevoir EX, another super unique card. That's what's so special about these high-class sets that they've released. They're so unique. They've released something different every single time. It's not like we're just getting, oh, it's another EX card, another GX card. It's something completely different, something unique for every single set, which is what I like. I like that in investing too, because it means people are going to want to come back to it. They're not going to want to come back to like a random GX card if you can get those in the future. It's what drives people's nostalgia is something unique. And I'll probably make another video talking about how uniqueness drives prices. But we'll hop into the penny card, I guess. I'm not a huge Fallout Trainer guy. It's been kind of going down in the past. I don't think this is a strong card. The Shiny Baby Pikachu, it's kind of bottomed out. I think this will just hold its value for a long time. It's a Pikachu card. That's kind of what they do. Then you got a lot of these trainer cards, Arvin, Nimona, and these like fairly unique looking gold cards. Not as cool as the Vstar Universe ones, but their price reflects that, being like $15. But overall, my thoughts on the set are, it's cool. It has great chase cards. I think it's gonna go up in the future. I think the prices that I've predicted for it are pretty good. I think it's going to be a great pickup for anyone who wants to grab it now at that cheap $35, $40 price. And if you want to open it now, I'd open it now because it's not going to get cheaper in the future. I don't think in the next year you'll see these boxes under $40 or $45. I think it's going to go up to $50, $55 in the next year and a half here. So that's my take on the Japanese high-class sets. I will make one on the main sets at some point. It's just going to take me a while. But let me know if you guys want to see it, and let me know if this stuff was helpful. And if you have any suggestions for how to improve the equation I have here or anything like that. But thank you for watching, and I appreciate you.